You're sitting there, replaying every little thing she did, wondering, was that just friendly or was that something more? And the truth is, most men don't miss chances because women aren't interested. They miss them because they don't recognize the signals when they're right in front of them. Before we get into this, if you've ever felt confused about mixed signals or overthinking someone's behavior, you're in the right place. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe. Not because you have to, but because I'm going to help you understand things most people never explain clearly. Let's talk honestly for a second. Attraction, especially from a woman's side, is rarely loud or obvious. It's subtle, it's layered, and it's often designed to feel safe for her and for you. Most women don't walk up and say, "I like you, make a move." Instead, they create small openings, little green lights, and then they watch what you do with them. And here's where a lot of men get stuck. You've probably been taught to look for big signs: dramatic flirting, obvious compliments, clear invitations. But real-life attraction doesn't usually look like that. It looks like moments, energy shifts, small changes in how she treats you compared to everyone else. Sometimes it's a look that lasts just a second too long. Sometimes it's how she leans in when you speak, even if the room isn't loud. Sometimes it's how she remembers something small you said days ago, something most people wouldn't even notice. These are not random. From a psychological perspective, when a woman is interested, her behavior starts to align in a very specific way. She becomes more present with you, more attentive, more engaged. Not because she's trying to impress you, but because her mind has already decided you matter a little more than the rest. But here's the important part most people don't tell you. These signals are invitations, not guarantees. They're her way of saying, "I'm open to you stepping closer," without putting herself in a vulnerable position where she could be rejected directly. It's a protective instinct, and it's completely natural. So when you ignore those signals or hesitate too long, she doesn't usually try harder. She pulls back. Not because she lost interest instantly, but because in her mind, the moment passed, the window closed, and she assumes you're either not interested or not confident enough to act. That's why understanding these green lights matters so much, because once you start seeing them clearly, everything changes. You stop guessing, you stop overthinking every word, and you start responding in real time, calmly, naturally, and with confidence. And no, this isn't about playing games or trying to decode women like they're a puzzle. This is about awareness. It's about recognizing human behavior, emotional cues, and responding in a way that feels grounded and respectful, but also decisive. One of the clearest signs she wants you to make a move is something most men dismiss as just being nice. She gives you more attention than necessary. Not loud attention, not obvious flirting, just consistent, intentional focus that doesn't quite match the situation. Think about this. You're in a group, but somehow her attention keeps circling back to you. She laughs a little more at your jokes, even the average ones. When you speak, she actually listens, not just waiting for her turn, but genuinely tuned in. And here's the detail most men miss. It's not just that she gives attention, it's how she gives it. There's a softness to it, a patience, a kind of quiet curiosity. Psychologically, attention is one of the most valuable things a person can offer. We don't give it freely to everyone. So when a woman consistently chooses to focus on you, especially in environments where she has other options, that's not random, that's selective investment. Now, this doesn't mean she's going to make things obvious. In fact, the more emotionally aware she is, the more subtle this becomes. She's not trying to perform. She's observing, feeling things out, seeing if you notice and how you respond. And this is where many men accidentally shut things down. They treat her attention casually. They assume she's like this with everyone, or they overthink it so much that they don't respond at all. But here's the truth. When someone gives you focused attention and you don't meet it, the connection doesn't grow. It fades. Because attraction needs movement. If she leans in and you stay still, the energy drops. If she opens a door and you don't walk through it, eventually she closes it. Now, what does meeting her attention actually look like? It's not about jumping to extremes or making things awkward. It's about acknowledging the moment, holding eye contact a second longer, engaging her back with the same level of interest, asking her something a little more personal, not invasive, just slightly deeper than surface level talk. What you're doing, in simple terms, is saying, "I see you, and I'm stepping toward you too." That's all she's really looking for at this stage, not perfection, not a rehearsed line, just presence and a bit of courage. And here's something important to understand. If she's not interested, her attention will feel neutral, polite but not invested. She won't go out of her way to stay engaged. The interaction will feel balanced, not slightly tilted toward you. But when she is interested, there's a subtle pull, like she's choosing you, without saying it directly. Once you start recognizing that difference, it becomes much easier to know when it's your moment to move forward. Another strong green light, one that's often more honest than words, is her body language. Because here's the thing, people can control what they say, but it's much harder to control how their body reacts when they feel something. When a woman is genuinely interested in you, her body tends to open up in your presence. And I don't mean anything dramatic. I mean small, natural shifts that happen without her thinking about them. She angles her body toward you, even in a group setting. Her feet point in your direction. When you're talking, she leans in slightly, not because she can't hear you, but because she wants to be closer to the moment you're sharing. These are subconscious cues. They come from a place of comfort and attraction, not strategy. And here's something really important. Comfort is the foundation of attraction. If she feels closed off, guarded, or distant in her body language, it usually means she's not fully at ease yet. But when she starts relaxing around you, when her posture softens, when her movements feel more natural, that's a sign she feels safe enough to let her guard down a little. And that's a big deal, because from a psychological standpoint, attraction grows where there's both interest and safety. Now, let's go a step deeper. There's a specific kind of mirroring that happens when she's into you. You take a sip of your drink. A few seconds later, she does the same. You lean back, she subtly follows. Your energy becomes a rhythm, and she starts syncing with it. This isn't something she's consciously doing. It's a natural human response when we feel connected to someone. Our brain is basically saying, "I like this person. I want to align with them." And here's where it gets interesting for you. If you notice this kind of body language, it's often a green light to gently increase the connection. Again, not in a forced or overwhelming way. But maybe you hold eye contact just a bit longer. Maybe your tone becomes slightly warmer, a little more personal. Maybe you close the physical distance, just a little, not invading her space, just reducing that invisible gap. And watch what happens. If she's comfortable, she won't pull away. She'll stay. She might even lean in more. That's your feedback in real time. But if she creates distance, shifts away, or closes her posture, that's also valuable information. It simply means you need to slow down, not push forward. This isn't about guessing. It's about observing and responding. And the more you practice noticing these signals, the more natural it becomes. You stop analyzing every second and start feeling the interaction as it unfolds. One more subtle cue to pay attention to: how she reacts when there's a pause. If there's a moment of silence and she stays present, maintains eye contact, smiles, doesn't rush to escape, that's often a sign she's comfortable in your presence. And comfort, again, is where attraction has room to grow. Here's a signal that confuses a lot of men, because it doesn't always look like attraction at first. She lightly teases you, not in a harsh or disrespectful way, but in a playful, slightly challenging way that keeps the interaction alive. She might joke about something small you said. She might question you just a little with a smile. She might even pretend to disagree with you, but there's a softness underneath it. And this is where many men get it wrong. They either take it too seriously or they shut down. But psychologically, playful teasing is often a form of engagement. It's her way of creating tension, the good kind, the kind that keeps things from feeling flat or predictable. Because attraction isn't just about comfort, it's also about stimulation. If everything is too polite, too safe, too neutral, there's no spark. So when she teases you, she's not pushing you away, she's pulling you into a more dynamic interaction. She's basically saying, "Can you meet me here? Can you handle a little back and forth?" And what she's really watching is your reaction. Do you get defensive? Do you lose your confidence? Or do you stay relaxed, maybe smile, and play along? Because your response tells her a lot about you. It shows emotional stability, it shows social awareness, and most importantly, it shows that you're comfortable in your own space, which is incredibly attractive. Now, this doesn't mean you need to become someone you're not. You don't have to suddenly turn into a comedian or start throwing jokes back if that's not your style. But you do need to stay present. If she says something playful, instead of shutting it down, you can respond lightly. Keep the tone easy, let it flow. Because what you're doing in that moment is building a shared emotional rhythm, and that rhythm is what creates connection. Now here's the key distinction. Playful teasing feels warm underneath. There's eye contact, there's a smile, there's a sense that she's enjoying the moment with you. But if something feels sharp, cold, or consistently dismissive, that's different. That's not a green light. That's a boundary. So always pay attention to the feeling behind the words, not just the words themselves. Another subtle version of this signal is when she challenges you just a little. She might say something like, "I don't believe you," or "You don't seem like that type." Again, not aggressively, but with curiosity. This is often her way of inviting you to reveal more of yourself. She's testing the depth of the interaction. And if you respond openly, without over-explaining or trying too hard to impress, it keeps the connection moving forward naturally. So when you notice this kind of playful tension, don't step back. Lean into it, calmly, because this is often the moment where things shift from simple conversation into something more interesting. Now, this is where things start becoming much more clear, if you're paying attention. She creates opportunities for you to spend time with her, even if it doesn't sound obvious on the surface. She might say something like, "I've been wanting to check out this place," or "I usually go there on weekends," or even something simple like, "You should come sometime." Notice what's happening here. She's not directly asking you out, but she's opening a door and leaving it unlocked. Psychologically, this is one of the strongest green lights, because now she's not just engaging in the moment, she's extending the interaction into the future, and that takes intention. People don't casually invite others into their time and space unless there's some level of interest, especially when it's repeated or paired with the kind of attention and body language we talked about earlier. But here's where many men hesitate. They treat it as a vague comment instead of what it actually is, an invitation. They say something like, "Yeah, maybe," or "That sounds nice," and then nothing happens. And from her perspective, that feels like a missed connection, because what she's really hoping for in that moment is simple, for you to take the lead. Not aggressively, not awkwardly, just clearly. Something like, "We should go together. When are you free?" That's it. Direct, but relaxed. You're not putting pressure on her. You're just stepping into the space she created. And this is where confidence shows up in a very real way. Not loud confidence, not over-the-top energy, just the ability to recognize an opening and move forward without overthinking it. Now, let's talk about another version of this signal. Sometimes she'll make herself more available to you. She responds quickly to your messages. She continues conversations instead of letting them fade. She finds small reasons to reach out, sending you something, asking a simple question, bringing up something you talked about before. These are not random behaviors. They're investments. She's putting energy into keeping the connection alive. And energy in relationships is everything. because attention can be given in the moment, but effort over time is a choice. Now, this doesn't mean every message or every invite is a guarantee, but when you see a pattern, when she consistently makes it easy for you to connect with her, that's your signal to step up a little, to move things forward, to suggest meeting, to shift from casual interaction into something more intentional. And here's something I want you to remember. You don't need the perfect moment. You don't need everything to be crystal clear. Because in real life, attraction grows in these in-between spaces, where things are felt more than they are said. Your role is not to wait for certainty. It's to recognize opportunity and respond with calm, grounded action. There's one final signal, and it's the one that matters most because it often shows up right before the moment where something real could happen. She lingers, not by accident, not because she has nothing else to do, but because she chooses to stay in your presence a little longer than necessary. The conversation could end, but it doesn't. There's a pause, and instead of leaving, she stays. Maybe she asks one more question. Maybe she smiles and holds eye contact just a second longer. Maybe she slows things down instead of rushing off. This is one of the clearest emotional cues you'll ever get, and at the same time, one of the easiest to miss if you're in your head. Because it doesn't announce itself, it feels quiet, subtle, almost like nothing is happening. But psychologically, this is a moment of openness. She is giving space for you to step forward. Think about it like this. If she wanted to leave, she would. People naturally exit interactions when they're done, uncomfortable, or uninterested. They check their phone, shift their body away, create an excuse. But when she stays, without needing a reason, that's intention. And in that moment, she's not just looking at you, she's feeling you out, waiting to see if you'll recognize what's happening or let it pass. And this is where everything comes together. All the signals we've talked about, the attention, the body language, the teasing, the invitations, they all lead to moments like this. Moments where the energy is there, but nothing has been said yet. This is where many men hesitate. They feel the tension, but they second guess it. What if I'm wrong? What if I ruin it? So they stay safe. They keep talking, or they end the interaction politely and walk away. And what they don't realize is doing nothing is a decision, because when that moment passes without action, the dynamic often resets. She pulls back slightly, not out of frustration, but out of self-protection. She gave the space, and it wasn't met. Now, here's what making a move actually means in this context. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as saying, "I've really enjoyed talking to you. We should continue this another time." Or, "Let's grab coffee this week." Calm, direct, real. If the connection is there, she'll meet you. If she's unsure, she'll still appreciate the clarity. And if she's not interested, you'll know, respectfully, without confusion. That's the power of responding instead of guessing, because confidence isn't about always being right. It's about being willing to step forward when the moment asks you to. And once you start recognizing these green lights and acting on them in a grounded, respectful way, something shifts. You stop feeling like you're chasing answers and start feeling like you're part of the interaction instead of watching it from the outside. That's where real connection begins.